Hi, man. Oh, the West Benny. You see what's going on? Man's back, bro, fam. It's a professional thing this evening. We're back very soon. You will have on, you will have the microphone, but I had to test run it first.
Yeah, you did. But you match up the thing.
Yeah. So, can you hear me live and clear, Spencer Fearon?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear, man. I told you I have to go this week. I've got to click them waters.
Yes, sir.
Because, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I got a phone. Boy, start the show properly, Ton. Come on.
Come on. All right, let's start this thing. Ladies and gentlemen, we start by saying, dream it, believe it, become it.
Come on down. Yes,
Wait,
yes,
wait,
yes,
wait,
yes, yes.
wait. Hi. Yeah, that's ready.
Yeah.
Come on.
Listen, man. Today marks the 80th birthday of the legendary, the Louisville Lip, the greatest of all times, the GOAT,
The GOAT.
Muhammad
Absolutely.
Ali. And it is in the background. I got his classic fight with him versus Joe Frazier, and it's amazing what that man stood for. You know,
Come
it's
on,
amazing.
touching it.
It's amazing what Ali stood for. Now I keep on telling people it wasn't just the fact that he was the world heavyweight champion. At the time when the world heavyweight champion, there was only one champ. Right? There weren't no split up business. At that time, you had the WBA and the WBC, right?
Yes.
Right? And Night Fletcher of the Ring magazine would compose who was the best pound for pound fighter in your selected weight division. And Ali reigned supreme when he beat Sonny Liston in February 25th, 1964, to become the world heavyweight champion. When we look at those times there, what Ali stood for was more than boxing. And you must know he must have stood more than boxing, because when the government of the USA tried to conspire against you to mash you up and you come out on top and victorious, God must love you. That's what I'm saying.
Oh wow. So I mean, it is. I can see why you say Terence Crawford's stand is not as powerful as the
As
one of
powerful,
Ali.
Tunde. Terence Crawford stand is a grain of sand compared to Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was the Sahara.
Do you think there will ever be anyone like Muhammad Ali? I mean, Floyd Mayweather calls himself the best ever.
And quite rightly so, he should call himself that. He should call himself that.
Yes, sir. But we're talking about the greatest of all time.
Ali's one of the greatest humanitarians of all time as well.
Yes. Yeah,
Right?
Muhammad Ali once said, "I'm the greatest," and he said that before he even knew he was the greatest.
Okay, then. I want you to know that part then.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, when we look on Ali, for him to take, remember this part here, you know, when he refused to take the draft in 1967, when he refused to go to the Vietnam War, right? When he famously stated that no Viet Cong never called me no N-word. So I'm not going out there, brother, to fight them man there, because them man ain't done me nothing. Right? Which sports star of that time and now would take that kind of stand? They wouldn't. They'd run down the money.
Toolkit,
Right?
Spence,
Let's
toolkit.
just be real. Colin Kaepernick, people are this is I'll tell you the way this thing. Colin Kaepernick did an advert for Nike. This must be about 4 years ago. He did an advert for Nike, and it was about not giving up on your battles and keep on pushing forward and and all the rest of it. It was great. And I remember at the time, because I could talk this thing, when Sky were frantically fretting about BT's involvement in sport, they had a big meeting. And Barney Francis, who was the head of Sky at the time, he gave this pep talk. But they played Colin Kaepernick's video about, never giving up, never quitting, because that was going to be the big battle was BT Sky, BT Sky, BT Sky. That was the big battle. And they played this Colin Kaepernick video to him. As they played this video, it was about never giving up and keep on striving and all the rest of it. But it wasn't touching on the reason why Colin Kaepernick was saying never give up and keep on fighting this battle and all the rest of it. The reason being behind his political stance, what the man was doing. So what I realized is they will use parts of you but not tell the whole story.
I get you.
Right. So what Ali represented, and this is what I'm trying to say, Ali stood for something so much that he was endeared by everyone. And no, let's be real, they did not love Ali at the time when he took his proper stance, like when he announced that he was a member of the Nation of Islam in 64. He was actually a member of the Nation of Islam from about 62, but he didn't touch on that. He waited till he said, right, when I win the world crown, then I'm going to make my announcement. And then he made his announcement. Ali stood for something. That's what I'm saying. It's take away his fighting. He had to fight in the way that he did fight and box in the way that he did box and talk that the way that he did talk. No one can't tell me that man was not blessed by God. I'm not hearing it. I'm not seriously, I'm not hearing it. And to have that bravery at that time, nah, Ali was a bad man, straight.
Let's just run through a few of the great Muhammad Ali quotes. 1, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. His hair. I'm trying to speak like an American.
Well, that's a bit obvious. Sorry, that's a bit obvious because you're Nigerian, too.
All right, wait. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. His hands can't hit what his eyes can't see. Now you see me, now you don't. George thinks he will, but I know he won't. That's a great quote. Another one. Service, and this is more.
This is a serious one.
Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. I'm going to say that.
Very serious.
I'm going to say that again. Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. Beautiful saying. Number 3. I'm young, I'm handsome, I'm fast. I can't possibly be beat. Bro, this guy's serious. Number 4, don't count the days, make the days count. And bro, these quotes are lessons.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger uses that quote regular.
Another one. If my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it. Jesse Jackson said this early in 1983, as early as 1983, according to the Associated Press, and Ali used it back in his 2004 book. 6, it's hard to be humble when you're as great as I am.
Great as I am.
Come on. 7, it isn't the mountains ahead to climb that wear you out. It's the pebbles in your shoes. These are deep. I want you to listen. 8, If you even dream of beating me, you better wake up and apologize. Hey, yeah, come on, bruv. Listen, Ali, and I'm gonna draw some of these. You stay there. Number 9. Bragging is when a person says something and can't do it. I do what I say. Floyd kind of said the same thing, but we understand where the root come from.
Of course, we understand where it comes from.
Number 10. I am the greatest. I said it even before I knew I was. Number 11. Only a man who knows what it is like to be defeated can reach down to the bottom of his soul and come up with an extra ounce of power it takes to win when the match is even. You hear that, Spence?
Come on, man.
So we all are after this undefeated record nowadays, but it's only when a man bounce back from defeat that you can really see what's inside an individual.
Come on. Anyway, who's that? Pinder, thank you very much.
He says, bless up to the professor. He says, bless up to the professor. Baba Tunde Ajayi, Master Knowledge, Mr. Fearon, best boxing podcast ever. Please keep the shows coming. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. And much appreciate the £5 donation.
Come on, man. Very, very grateful for that.
Let's touch on, I'm just going to pick anyone. Let's touch on the first Joe Frazier fight.
It was that March 8th, 1971.
The knowledge.
I just took a bite out of this delicious donut.
Talk to us about the fight, Spence. The first Joe Frazier fight.
Ali was banned from boxing for 3 years. And not just banned from boxing, Ali was banned from traveling. So he couldn't even travel. They took away his visa. So he could have easily chipped out the country when he refused to take the draft. He said, no, I'm not taking the stand. I'm not going to war. Now, at the time when he did that, when they stripped him his world crown, right? You had famous champions come out and say that he was a disgrace. You know what I mean? Jack Dempsey came out against Ali. You know what I mean? Joe Louis was saying, you know what? He should have just gone because he wouldn't have to fight in no war. Right? All of these big stars came out against him. Jackie Robinson, the famous Jackie Robinson, the first ever person of color to play American baseball. Thank you very much, Fifi. We'll get back to your question in a second. So at the time
Spencer's frozen.
When he came back to fight, right? His skills had eroded to him. Because you think about it, you're at the peak of your time when you got stripped of your title. You know what I mean? You put in some fantastic performances. I would tell to anyone, go watch Ali versus Cleveland Williams. If that fight don't blow your mind, then something's wrong with you. That was
against who?
Cleveland Williams. That's Ali's greatest performance.
Great performance.
Yeah, incredible performance, right? But even in saying that, I could pick holes in that to say like Cleveland Williams was slightly past peak. Regardless of that, Cleveland Williams could punch like a mother, right? When Ali was in that retirement mode because he was stripped of his titles, they stopped the man from earning, so he couldn't earn no money. So he had to go on the road and give lectures in universities to earn some money. Then he had this idea concocted by his lawyer of the time and his photographer, Howard Bingham, to start a food chain. And the food chain was called Champ Burgers. You know what I mean? I think when Anthony Yard knocks out Smith, I think we should start our chain and call it Yard Burgers.
Yard Burgers, yeah, come on, bruv. Ideas are flowing.
Bruv, that will work.
That most definitely will work.
Yeah, when Ali got his when Ali got his license, check this one out. When Ali got his license to come back to him, right? He'd been out of boxing for 3 years, and he took on 2 top 10 contenders back to back. One in Jerry Corey. Jerry Corey was around today. I guarantee he'd win a version of a world title. Jerry Corey could fight. That guy could fight. Jerry Corey, yeah, he fights Jerry Corey, and then he fights Oscar Bonavino, right? And he stops Oscar Bonavino in the 11th round. Was not Ali's best performance, to tell you the honest truth, because Bonavino kind of got underneath his skin. He refused to call him Ali, called him Clay. He was calling him a draft dodger, all kind of rest of the stuff, right? So Ali stops him, and then Ali goes in to fight Joe Frazier. Now, at the time, this was the highest record for a purse in boxing, because the two of them split $5 million.
Wow.
This is 1971, you know.
The knowledge.
Right? At Madison Square Gardens, you couldn't get a ticket for love nor money. The great Frankie Blue Eyes, yeah, couldn't get a ticket. He had to go for Esquire magazine as a photographer so he could get a ticket to go to the fight.
Who?
What, Frank Sinatra?
Wow. The original Frankie Blue Eyes. Yeah, you had me confused there, because you know I call Frank Warren Frankie Blue Eyes.
Yeah, I know you do, but the original Frankie Blue Eyes. You know what I mean?
The original Frank Sinatra.
So
Spence, I don't want to be rude. I'm enjoying, but we have to get these. I call them Snapchat or Super Chats, just to mention, because they go off the screen. So thank you, Fifi, for your 1999 euros. One of the greatest quotes of Ali, when Ali in '88 walked into the ring to Tyson saying, "Remember your promise. Go get him for me." Tyson KO'd his promise into fruition in 1998. Ali's generational, the GOAT.
Yeah,
and
we could touch on that.
Also, Miss V Ringside VIP, thank you for your $4.49 donation. She says, happy Heavenly Father, happy heavenly birthday, Ali. You are the greatest. We love you. Big up Spencer and Tunde. We love you guys. I'm absorbing the info. Thank you very much. And thank you, Miss Ringside VIP. Carry on, Spencer. Can you stop eating donuts while you're talking, please?
Donuts delicious, bro. Right. So I was saying, when Ali fought Frazier, right? Remember what happened at the time when he got stripped of the title? They had a box-off tournament. Jimmy Ellis won the WBA version of the title. Joe Frazier won the New York State version of the title. And they end up fighting each other. Joe Frazier famously knocks out Jimmy Ellis to become undisputed world heavyweight champion. Ali vehemently complained about that, saying, like, famously said, like, those eliminations are only imitations. You're not the true champ, right? He's saying, like, I'm the true champ. They end up fighting, right? And I'm gonna be real. Ali did lose that fight. He lost the fight because he fought wrongly. You know what I mean? He was moving for a little bit. He was trying to show Joe Frazier that he could take his shots. I don't know where his mind was at. And credit to Joe Frazier, because when we talk about that was the fight of the century and the super fight. When we talk about super fights, that was the super fight. And Joe Frazier came out victorious. It was a close fight. It was given very wide in Joe Frazier's favor, but that's got a lot to do with Ali being so anti-establishment, and the nation wasn't really behind Muhammad Ali at that time. They liked him, but they weren't really feeling him. And he said some really derogatory things to Joe Frazier that, and I'm talking in the first fight, I'm talking about the Freedom Miller. He said some really derogatory things to Joe Frazier. But when you understand it now, that is all part of the magic that makes Muhammad Ali.
Yes, sir. All right. Pool L Finance, Thank you for your £5, sir. Much appreciated. He says, big up family. Ali could have been, let me get this up. He said Ali could have been a plumber and he would have still made history. He transcended boxing, a true enigma, peace and love, family. I think you're right,
Listen, Paul, you can't.
I think you are
I'm
absolutely
telling you,
right.
he could have been a road sweeper. You know, still. Listen, I'm telling you, when you just meet someone, you just know. When you meet someone, you can feel that they are so blessed, and you can feel their blessings. I believe Ali was one of those characters. I believe that
individual.
I mean, not to get too churchified or anything else. I think that Ali was exemplary to, Psalms 90, where it says, "And ye are gods, but you die as men." I believe really so that Ali was a god, right? And I'm telling you that now. I'm right. Name me, Tunde, which man, will be willing to give up millions of dollars, right? And the World Heavyweight Championship, fame, money, adulation, and everything else, and attention for their religious beliefs, but their religious beliefs was for a cause, knowing that I'm going up against injustice for my people. Name me someone who's done that.
Yeah, again.
I hear it. That's what I'm saying. Name me somebody who do that.
Not one.
Not one.
Not one.
Not one.
Not one. Let me give you a few more quotes from the great man himself. He said, "I'm so mean, I make medicine sick." I love that one, Spence. Man said he makes medicine sick. Bruv, he said, "I should be a postage stamp. That's the only way I'll ever get licked." Yeah. 14, he said, "Impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in a world they have been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not."
Read that one again,
man.
John.
Wait,
Read that
man.
one again.
Wait, I ain't finished yet, but I'm gonna go from the top. I'm gonna go for the top, and I'm gonna give it a round of applause as well. Ali once famously said, "Impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in a world they have been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. Impossible is not a declaration, it's a dare. Impossible is potential. Impossible is temporary. Impossible is nothing. Nada." Well, he didn't say nada, but he said impossible is nothing. Spence, the one and only Muhammad Ali, a great man, a great man, someone who would have been 80 years of age today, but the flesh can die, the spirit can never die.
Never die.
This man lives on and on and on. And for all those youngsters so imbued in all the new school antics, go and look at what this man stood for. And also go and look at the boxing ability of a man so long ago. Man was busting pull counters way before Floyd. Bruv, Ali was not supposed to be pulling pull counters, but he dropped a pull count on Sonny Liston.
Pull counter.
And they thought it was a phantom punch. But it was a pull count. It was a pull count. Touch on that famous fight, Spence. Let's go back to the date you're about to tell us. The first Sonny Liston fight.
Well, the first Sonny, the first Sonny Liston fight, when Ali defeats Sonny Liston, right? In that fight there, people thought yeah, that it was a fix.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because similarly to they at the time, I think they asked 50 journalists.
Sorry, I have to say this. 84 Boxing says, he said, I thought that Spence would have come on with a bow tie just to get the haters' blood pressure. A
You know
bow
what?
tie, for those of us who know, some people in boxing call Spencer X, not Malcolm X, Spencer X. But anyway, come on, let's go, Spence. Sorry.
You know what, Tony? I'm gonna tell you
Sonny,
the honest
listen,
truth.
what? Huh?
I was gonna do that to wind up people today, you know, but I was not gonna lie.
You should have. But anyway, please take us back to that year. What year was it, Spence? The first
What, the
Sonny
first fight?
Liston fight? Yes.
1964.
Come on. The knowledge. Only get the real knowledge in the fighters or on the fighters, right? Should I say?
Right.
But come on, break it down, Spence. Break it down.
Right.
Break it down.
Ali boxed, right? And he really did box. He boxed. He jabbed my man. He jabbed him silly, you know.
Spence,
Like,
how many donuts you eating?
Don't worry about that, man.
Coming like the donuts can't done. Probably been chewing since we come on. That's 26 minutes.
Yeah.
Come on. Anyway, sorry, Spence.
Yeah. Right. So in that fight, yeah, they actually thought that they asked, I think it was 50 news journalists and reporters, and 47 of them went for Sonny Liston to win.
Say that again, because you cut out there.
47 of 50 people asked about that fight said Sonny Liston was going to destroy Ali. That's serious, you know?
That's serious.
That's serious. Right? Ali boxed him. And he boxed him. And when you look at the stoppage, when he didn't come out for the 8th round, yeah?
Yes.
He done Sonny some skullduggery. Because prior to Ali fight, we've had a couple guys. Eddie Machin was a very good fighter. He fought Sonny Liston. And so did Cleveland Williams. And they both of these men complained that they had a burning in their eyes especially Cleveland Williams. Right. So, and you know, Sonny Liston was a mob guy who was controlled by the mob. There was some skullduggery going on there.
Yeah, I've actually never heard that story. The two previous opponents actually complained.
They said the same thing, that right. They suffered from burnings of the eye, like they couldn't see, they were blinded. So I don't know what kind of coagulant he might rub on his gloves, especially in those days. Remember, in those days also, the thumb wasn't sealed to the glove. So the thumb was open. So you could thumb man quite easily. You know what I mean? But something was burning Ali's eyes anyway. Something was burning his eyes. Right? And when Sonny Liston couldn't put away, it's like he gave up to him. And that's the truth. It's like he gave up. But that's not the fight. That was a great win. It was an incredible win because I still watch that fight to this day. It's an incredible piece of boxing. Just watch how Ali would skip around the ring, how he would pop out his jab. You'd have to say, wow, that's incredible. But I'll tell you now, the rematch that took place afterwards, right?
Yes.
That fight there was, remember, at the time, Ali was involved in the Nation of Islam. He was tight with Malcolm X, right? He was tight with Malcolm X. Then we know, and I'll say to anyone, go watch the, was it Blood Brothers? I've read the book as well, but the Blood Brothers was on Netflix. I'll tell everyone to go watch that. It's really, really good.
I watched that. Great,
it's excellent.
Great
it's really, really good. It's really good, right? So Ali kind of parts ways with Malcolm X because he chose the minister over Elijah Muhammad over Malcolm X. That's another story for another day. But at the time then, Malcolm X gets assassinated. At the time when Malcolm X gets assassinated, now everybody's thinking that Ali was next to get shoot up. So when people are talking about the phantom punch that occurred, it wasn't no phantom punch. You know what I mean? That was, as Tunde said, that was a pull counter right hand.
Pull the counter. Pull the counter. Let me just put this young man's message up. He said, guys, I did message Mr. Ajayi on Instagram earlier today and asked if he can please bring back the loud horn sound. It really makes the show. Mr. Pinder, you see what I said? I'm the make it. Well, let me say, the man behind the cam is the man. Because after I got your message, I phoned Gary. I said, Gary, I've just got this message on Instagram. The man saying, bring back the things because it vibes up the show. And lo and behold, Mr. Pinder, your request has been answered. And we're back. So this. Everyone on the show has Mr. Pinder to thank for that. Pinder man, dear, thank you very much for your £5 donation. And that's a good shout. It's a good shout because I feel today Spencer needs a lot of these because he's giving us the knowledge. Spencer, Muhammad Ali, 1960 Olympic gold medalist, or did you have something else that you wanted to say about the fight, the Liston fight?
No. When Ali won the Olympic gold medal in Rome,
yes,
people need to remember he won it as a light heavyweight.
Yes.
Those people were talking, thinking that he was heavyweight. He wasn't a heavyweight. He won that as a light heavyweight. Joe Frazier came on in '64 Olympics and won it at heavyweight. And then George Foreman came along in '68 and won it as heavyweight. But Ali did not win it as a heavyweight. He was a light heavyweight. Right? And then
come on, Spenny.
When Ali turns pro, you know who his first trainer was?
Come on. Enlighten the fight is right.
The great Archie Moore was Ali's trainer, right?
Didn't Tommy Brooks say Archie Moore was his trainer?
Yeah, he said, Tommy Brooks said that Archie Moore worked for him, yeah. Archie Moore's a ridiculous puncher. Ridiculous puncher.
Yeah, he did say that.
Right? So, like, with that, Ali was like, Archie Moore wanted Ali to be like, do chores, wash dishes, sweep up the house, all the rest. Ali said, "Bun that, man. I'm here to box, bro."
Yeah. Come on, the knowledge.
He's not doing that. You know what I mean? And then he leaves there, and he goes to Miami to the 5th Street gym. And while he's in Miami, and he starts working with Angelo Dundee. But originally, you know what I mean? Originally, it was my guy that was going to be the trainer. You know what I mean? Aegis Archie Moore. So that's deep.
That's deep.
Because Archie Moore, Ali fight each other. You know that, right?
Archie Moore what?
Yeah, Archie Moore fights Ali.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, that's
Ali
part of
him up. Like, broke him up.
But Arash Boxing also reminds us that today, thank you for the £5, sir. He also reminds us today is Cuss the Utmo's birthday.
Yes.
And Wolf,
yes,
and
yes.
and Wolf's birthday.
Buddy McGurk and Wolf.
Buddy McGurk. Yes.
Antonio Marco Burra. Yes.
And today is Martin Luther King Day in America.
Yep.
So today is a special day, Spence.
Listen, today's a big day. Yesterday was Roy Jones's birthday. You know what I mean? Mike Tyson told the stories. We can go back to, it was Fifi that said, like, when he fought in '88, when Tyson fought Larry Holmes in '88, it was January 27th, 1988, that fight, right? Ali versus Holmes. And, Tyson famously says the story like, when he was listening on the phone because Cus D'Amato and Ali would talk regularly. They had the same birthdays, and they were good friends. I mean, go watch AKA Muhammad Ali, AKA Cassius Clay. Watch that; it's really cool. And in there, he was on the phone speaking to customer, saying like, you know what, yeah, I just got old in there. He was on the thyroid pill as well. We said, look, you know what, it just weren't there for me, and Cuss didn't play. Like, you lost to a bum, Ali. You lost to a bum, and like Mike Tyson, this is on the phone, and he's like, Mike Tyson's very like, listen, man, I get older, I'm gonna deal with this man, you know. Right. And so said, so done. Come the fight that happened in the Trump Trump Plaza in Las Vegas, and Ali goes to me, get him for me, champ, get him for me, and he did. Ali told Tyson that, and we saw what Tyson did to poor Larry Holmes in 4 rounds. Even though round 4, when Larry Holmes got on his toes and started to bounce, go watch that fight. Larry Holmes was very impressive until Tyson was clapping with that left hook. And that was all that she wrote, my friend.
Yes, sir. Let me look for some more quotes from the great man himself. He said, he who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing.
Will accomplish nothing.
Nada. Nothing. He also said, a man who views the world the same at 50 as he did at 20 has wasted
30 years of his
life. He said, if they can make penicillin out of moldy bread, they can sure make something out of you. You hear the lyrics? Bro, that sound like a lyric that you might bust in a dance. In a Fifth Avenue dance. The man them know what I'm chatting about. Anyway,
yeah, big up Ray Banton.
With Ray. Come on, Ray. Old tight Ray Banton. Sweet vibes. Anyway, I'm getting a bit too in now. Another one. I shook up the world. I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. Great one for the fighters there. At home, I'm a nice guy, but I don't want the world to know. Humble people I've found don't get very far. Lyrics upon lyrics. A man
Alexander Wilson just coming to house.
There's a YouTube video of customer. Thank you for the $5, Alexander. First of all, he said there's a YouTube video of Cuss, D. Amatmo, and Ali demonstrating boxing drills, and Cuss accidentally hit Ali in the face. I think I've seen that actually. Anyway, let me carry on.
He meant to do it.
He probably did as it goes. This is a one where I think a lot of people didn't really like this. He said, Sonny Liston, too ugly to be the world champ. The world champ should be pretty like me. Come on. He said, I am an astronaut of boxing. We don't disagree, Mr. Ali. Joe Louis and Dempsey were just jet pilots. I'm in the world of my own. Come on. Lyrics. This is confidence, Spence. Sheer confidence. He said, I wrestled with the alligators.
I tussled with a whale. I handcuffed lightning, throw thunder in jail.
There you go. Spencer knows. That's why we call him the knowledge. He knows what's going on. And this is a great one. Hating people because of their color. This goes to yesterday's subject. Hating people because of their color is wrong. It doesn't matter which color does the hating. It's just plain wrong. Drop the mic. Wait. I'm going to say it again, Spence. I'm going to say that again. He said, hating people because of their color is wrong. It doesn't matter which color does the hating. It's just plain wrong. There you go. The great man himself, Ota Alexander Wilson. Was Sonny Liston's reach real or a myth? Spence, we'll answer that one. You've been muted, Spence. You're on mute. Nobody can hear you. Have you muted yourself? We can't hear you, Spence. Gary, can we deal with that? Well, maybe Gary can deal with it. Or I think Spencer may have come out and then gonna bring himself back in. Let me give you a few more Ali quotes. But thank you. I'm sure he will answer that question, Alexander Wilson, very soon. Let me give you some more bars by Ali. He said, it's not bragging if you can back it up. He said, I'm the most recognized and loved man that ever lived because there weren't no satellites when Jesus and Moses were around. So people far away in villages didn't know about them. Wow. This guy, Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali. Spence, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's because I got a phone call. It was Zab Judah just phoning, so I just cut him off. But when I cut him off, it's a madness. But it is what it is.
Thomas said Tunde can't say cuss his name. Don't know why I find it so. I don't know why I find it so funny. Help him out, Spence. Was it
cuss the Amado?
Yeah, I say cuss the Amatmo.
No, man, no. Cuss the Amado, man. Cuss the Amado.
Cuss the Amado. Okay, cuss the Amado. There you go, Thomas. Sorry, I'm always getting the pronunciation.
But in the UK, they say cuss the Amado, but it's not. It's cuss the Amado.
Cuss the Amado. There you go. I'm gonna get it. Don't worry. Have patience. Spence, let's touch on the great rumble in the jungle.
Ooh.
What a fight.
I want two things I want people to realize, you know. Do you know how hard George Foreman hit?
I see a video where he licked the bag and the bag had an indent in it. He punched the bag so hard.
Exactly. And Dick Sadler, the brother of the great featherweight Sandy Sadler, was his trainer holding the bag, and the thing was just jerking him up. You know what I mean? George, listen. The number one is it's genius when you think about the Rumble in Jungle, how it took place in the first place, right? Because Don King had the temerity, and that's what you got to call it, the bare-faced temerity to go to an African country in Zaire, which was called the Congo previously, right? Which changed its name to the Congo. Went to Zaire and spoke to Sisi Sekou Mobutu, the prime minister of the country, yeah, and said, listen, you should host George Foreman defending his world crown against Muhammad Ali. Are you listening to the temerity of this? This is 1974. George Foreman went, that's the genius of that. You got to think, what a brave, brazen move, because Mobutu didn't ramp him up. If you went to Mobutu's palace, he didn't like you, just get his soldiers to gunshot you.
Spencer, so while I've known you for so long, you know, we grew up together, and while I've always been impressed with your boxing knowledge, tonight I'm impressed with your vocabulary. For those of us that don't know what the word temerity means, bro, Spence, you shocked me tonight. Tonight, I know you're quite educated. You're coming up my street today. You're not just a boxing you're not just not boxing royalty in terms of knowledge, but your vocabulary tonight. You know what I'm trying to say? When they look at us, Spence, they don't know what's going on. They don't know the study, the studious attitude that we have. But for those that don't know what the word temerity is, because Spencer's showing off today, temerity means the excessive confidence or boldness, audacity, as he said, to hold the heavyweight title fight in Africa. Carry on, Spence. For the Fight is Right listeners, the word temerity means what I just said. It's the excessive confidence, the boldness, the audacity to make such a move. Go ahead, Spence. Sorry, I had to say that because I'm impressed tonight. I'm impressed.
At that time, George Foreman was 40-0. Yeah?
Come on.
And all of the blinking fighters knockouts. Bar 2. Are you listening to that record? Right? People didn't only think that Ali was going to get hurt in that fight. They thought Ali was going to die. Right? Because here is Ali. He had a life and death in the first fight with Joe Frazier. And he did have a life and death with Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier famously knocked him down in the 15th round, cracked his jaw. Right? And Ali had like a watermelon at the side of his face. How badly his mouth was mashed up. Joe Frazier had to spend 1 month in the hospital after that fight.
Serious.
That's serious. That's when you know that when those guys went into this thing, like what Mike Tyson was saying, like loads of times I like to talk tough and say, like, yeah, I don't want to die in there and all the rest of it. He said, I don't really mean it. He said, Ali meant that shit. But Ali was saying, like, I'm willing to die. He was willing to die. Then he had the 2 fights. Then he had the 2 fights against Ken Norton, right? The first fight he did lose, right? The second fight, up in the air, many people think they lost that fight, think that Ali lost that fight. I've watched that fight many times. Ali didn't lose that fight. I thought Ali boxed excellent for the first 6 rounds. It was a 12-round fight for an FBA title. I gave that fight to Ali, right? But George Foreman annihilated Joe Frazier when they fought. Annihilated him. Right?
Bounce him up and down the ring like some joke business.
It was ridiculous. Destroyed him. Destroyed Ken Norton when that fight was in Venezuela. Destroyed Ken Norton. When we're looking at what George Foreman was the monster. And what people seem to forget is like George Foreman modeled himself on Sonny Liston. He wanted to do everything like Sonny Liston. He used to spar with Sonny Liston. He wanted to be everything like Sonny Liston. Right? Not talk, be this big bad man. And that's what George Foreman was. George Foreman was a rambunctious puncher, a dangerous man that didn't smile, wasn't too camera friendly neither, just wanted to get onto business. So when that fight took place in Zaire, Lloyd Wells, who was a big singer back in the day, sang that Pop Goes the Weasel song in America, which was a massive hit. He and Don King said, right, we're going to put on a concert first, and then after the concert, we're going to put on a fight. What happened was George Foreman in sparring with a man called Bill McCurry, who was actually kind of like Ali-esque in his boxing, would hit and run. So he was sparring. I think Foreman goes to throw a shot, and he catches him with the elbow, and it cuts his eye. So George Foreman was cut. So the fight got cancelled for 6 weeks. Right? Now, this is where you have to know that Don King's a bad man, because Don King said, right, well, the fight's not going to happen. I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to bring in Joe Frazier. So we're going to do Ali 3. That's a fight everyone wants to see. And Ali said, no, brother. I want to fight George Foreman for the world title because we're in Africa. Now, this is a symbolic symbol. And it was Don King that said this. Is the last time that we left Africa in droves, in chains, and now we're going back in splendor as champions of the world. That was a serious statement that was made then by Don King. So people talk about all these skullduggeries and Don King's this and that. But for the man to have pulled off that move and said, like, listen, we need to put Zaire on the map, right? Now, how are we going to put Zaire on the map? We're going to put you on the map by what? He said, like, you could start a war. That's going to put you on the map. But wars cost way more than $10 million, right? He coaxed the president to part with $10 million for that fight.
Say that again, Spence.
He coaxed the president, Sisi Sekou Mobutu, to hand over $10 million to make that fight. Right? That was unprecedented, unheard of money in 1974.
Interesting.
Crazy.
And very, very informative. I know there's a lot of people that had no idea about this knowledge you're spitting. Big up Bobby Wright. Thank you for the 449. He said, bless up Tunde, Spencer, and Gary. Tunde on the mic, Spence with the knowledge, Gary with the cam, and he says he loves this. And guess what? Big up Bobby Wright. The one and only. Spenny, continue.
Right. Remember, go, if we're here, I'm telling everybody, just go and watch George Foreman versus Ken Norton. And you see what George Foreman does to Ken Norton in 2 rounds, you'd think to yourself, Ali's going to fight this man, eh? The way George Foreman clap out Ken Norton was horrible. You know? It was horrible. And the same kind of thing, George Foreman, when Ken Norton was trained by Eddie Futch at that time, right? Ken Norton looks at Eddie Futch and he says to Eddie Futch, in the ring, you know, similar to what Anthony Joshua did when he asked Clifton Mitchell, like, how do you fight this man?
Come on. Alexander Wilson, speaking of the Rumble in the Jungle, what are your thoughts on the Rumble in the Jungle? Isn't that what we're talking about? Oh, documentary when we were kids.
When we were kids. Incredible. Was I think that was made in '96. I think they made that documentary. It won an Academy Award. It won an Academy Award for Best Documentary. Incredible documentary. I used to watch that documentary religiously. You'd come to my house and I'd always have that on as a kid. I used to watch that religiously. That was a fantastic documentary. Really, really thought out. Told a lot of stories. An incredible documentary. I'll tell anyone, go watch that. It's wicked.
Okay, let's do it. Let's say a few more, 1 or 2 more Ali quotes. He said, "It's just a job. Grass grows, birds fly, waves pound the sand. I beat people up." Muhammad Ali has got bars. He said, "I'm not the greatest. I'm the double greatest." And he said, "Live every day as if it were your last, because someday you're going to be right."
Yep.
The one and only. Fifi, let me just say, Fifi said, Ben and General ran out of their pounds and dollars today. All jokes aside. Okay, I get you. Ben Odin better come up in here because man's busting joke about you now, Ben. Anyway, Ben and General ran out of their pounds and dollars today. All jokes aside, Spencer, what is your opinion on Ali and Fraser's relationship that ended sour? It's sad now that friendships ended.
You know how it is. This is like, you know how it goes. Is this their friendship ended sour? Bottom line, they were never friends. Right? They were respectful. They had it, and it was. Do you remember Butch Lewis, the man that was Michael Spinks' manager?
And he had the bow tie with no shirt.
That's it. Right?
Come on.
He used to work for Joe Frazier, right? So he worked for Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier that pushed him into becoming a promoter. So Butch Lewis, Ali was downtown. This is when Ali was. This must have been 1970. Ali didn't get his license back yet, and they meet each other. And Joe Frazier's driving in his Cadillac, and Ali jumps in his Cadillac, and they're driving, and Ali was like, "Yeah, man." They're all talking. Ali's going through financial trouble at this time as well because he ain't been fighting and everything else. And Joe Frazier pulls him off a couple $1,000 and gives it to him, right? And Butch was just saying, the crazy thing was this, is like, I was sat in the back and they're referring to each other as champ. Like, how you doing, champ? No, I'm good, champ. Champ. They're both calling each other champ, right? And they're talking respectfully and everything, like, Joe knows his situation and Joe pulls him off some money and gives it to him, right? As soon as Ali pulls outside, I think it was a Waldorf Astoria hotel, pulls outside the hotel, yeah, with Joe Frazier.
Yes.
And walks out. As soon as he walks out, he just switches on Joe Frazier. Like, Joe, you ugly. I'm gonna whoop you. You ain't nobody. And Joe Frazier thinking, "Raw, Bridget, I just gave you some money,
Come on.
Right? So I think a lot of this had to do with the fact that
man heard what you said. Fifi, man heard what you said, Spencer. Fifi, Ben Odom heard what you said. He said, Fifi, you said what? Happy birthday to the greatest 78. Where you at, homeboy? And that's £50 from the one and only Ben Odom, Mr. Intelligent Chat. That's what we call him.
No, he's Mr.
Ben
Sponsor
Odom.
the show. That's who he is, man. He's Mr. I'm sponsoring the show. Seriously. But Ben needs to DM us so we can know what he does. I want to find out what the brother does, man. I mean, that's what I want to find out.
Don't ask no questions and you get told no lies. Just come with
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
Carry on, Spencer. Let's go answer this call.
Yeah. So I'm saying the thing with Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, they were never friends. They were competitors. They had mutual respect for each other, and I think that mutual respect lasted up to the day that they died. But it was more to the fact of the bitterness that they had. And remember, also, Joe Frazier literally died penniless. Here's a man that made millions of dollars from the fight game. And he died with no real money. But Joe Frazier's a man. I don't think he could understand the fact of why Ali was so endeared and so loved by the people, because Joe was like get down, dirty fighter. And another thing, go watch Joe Frazier's 1969 fight, him versus Jerry Corey. And if that fight don't blow your mind, something's wrong. That's when two men just learned how to just come forward and stay in the pocket and deliver left hooks and right hands at each other. An incredible demonstration of boxing by these guys. Go and watch that fight. And if that don't do something for you, then something's wrong with you. I mean that, and I really do mean that. Gary Frog, any questions out there, Gary, please? Come on, Gary. Got to put my glasses on here. What's that? Dino says 60s Ali versus 70s Ali. Who would win? That's an excellent question. Huh? That is a really good question. And I'm going to say it's a difficult one to answer, but I would have gone for the 70s Ali to beat the 60s Ali. And the reason being is because I believe that the 70s Ali was a lot smarter. The 60s Ali was learning his trade, right? But he didn't have that experience, and he was very, very fast. He was incredibly fast. He was incredibly fast. At the time, they were saying that he was the fastest puncher ever. They ran it through film check of the speed of the shots that came out, and it was Sugar Ray Leonard that held the record for how many frames per picture that would go through. When they did it on that count, we go through the count. But Ali was actually faster than Ray Robertson. So I would say I would have gone for the 70s, well, especially the Ali that fought George Foreman, showed us a very, very cleverness. And I remember one time Floyd Mayweather was trying to build it with that. What was clever about the staying on the ropes and making a man punch away at you? There was nothing clever about it. I'm saying it was benign bravery to stay on the ropes and let George Foreman wail away at you and get tired and taunt him at the same time. And then look at the crisp jabs that Ali was throwing. And they're really crisp jabs he was throwing at George Foreman from a defensive mode with his hands held up high. Very clever. And also in that fight, Angelo Dundee deliberately slackened the ropes. Because you know when the ropes are tight and you're back on the ropes and man punch you can't even lean back on it because it's going to push you forward.
Yes.
Angelo Dundee was seen prior to the fight loosening the ropes on the turnbuckle. He must have paid Mike Goodall or someone, but he was loosening.
Yeah, Mike Goodall was probably there, isn't it?
Yeah, he was loosening the ropes, son. It was loosening the ropes. So I would actually say that the set is a very difficult question because the 60s Ali was at his peak and he was nuts fast. But I just think that old man, but who weren't too old. You know what I mean? The 32-year-old Ali who won back the world heavyweight crown, maybe, just maybe, I reckon that he would have beaten the younger Ali.
Fifi, he said, haha, it's all respect. Hold on, let me put it up. Fifi said, hi, it's all respect, Ben. I'm loaded today, waiting for the Americans. We're on the same team. Time to plant the European flag on the American on the Americans' ground. All right, cool. So we got 2 men back in the UK, but the Yanks are nowhere to be seen today, Spence.
They know to
But
be
don't
seen.
worry.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, we should have called my man back on the show, but I don't want to drain out 7-8's pockets today. You know what I mean?
All right. We will listen. We've done an hour, and I feel like we've more than paid respect
Oh, come on,
to
man.
the one and only Muhammad Ali, the greatest ever. But I can see a few. It was a question I was thinking, but I didn't know whether to ask it. I was thinking, is it kind of a
What we should do?
disrespect?
You know what we should do?
Ralph Hudson, he says, who would trouble a prime Muhammad Ali the most out of the current crop of heavyweights?
The current crop of heavyweights, I think a guy that would have troubled Ali would have been Tyson Fury because of his size. You know what I mean? I think Tyson Fury.
You don't think Anthony Joshua would have been in there?
I don't. I'm gonna be real. I mean, Usyk ain't more clever than Ali. Right, I don't.
Interesting.
I think Anthony Joshua would have been tailor-made. I think Anthony Joshua would have been tailor-made for Muhammad Ali.
I'm just thinking, Muhammad Ali was the first heavyweight to be 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. Is Anthony Joshua in danger of doing the same thing?
Not in danger. It's not in danger. There's a great possibility of Anthony Joshua doing the same thing.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That was a play on words, Spencer.
Yeah, I like this.
He actually could become a 3-time heavyweight champion. And you know the way AJ dresses, he kind of like he wears the long boots, the white robe. And listen, it's dream it, believe it, become it. If you want to, the mark of a genius is following the greats and becoming the greats. So, although he will never be a Muhammad Ali, he's actually.
As long as we know that, and that's no disrespect to Anthony Joshua, right? Here's the difference. The difference is that Ali was boxing when he was 12 years old. From when he was 12. From when they stole his bicycle and he runs into a police officer called Joe Martin, and Joe Martin takes him down the gym. And then he goes on a TV show called Tomorrow's Champions, right? And I remember his dad, Ali's dad, Rudy Clay, was saying that he knew his son was going to be a champion from when he had his first amateur fight. He was a 12-year-old and he boxed a 16-year-old kid who had fights. Quite a few fights, and he said the way my son broke up this boy.
Wow!
I said, I know my son's gonna be a champion.
The knowledge.
Yeah, right. So
the knowledge.
The game, like I said, the game's the game, and we have to appreciate and love this sport. We gotta love it, man. Bottom line, we gotta love it.
Absolutely, Spence.
To answer the question of the current crop, I'm saying Tyson Fury because of his size, and I think that Tyson Fury has a decent boxing IQ, but I think you'd have given Ali trouble because of his size, nothing else. Because I'm gonna be real, I think George Foreman will knock out everybody right now in the heavyweight division.
A young George Foreman
will knock out all of these boys. I'm telling you that. Joe Frazier would have messed up a lot of these boys. Badly. When that left hook catch, you don't know what time of day it is. And what I noticed also is like Tyson Fury is susceptible to overhand rights and left hooks. Dylan White is susceptible to left hooks, but not as much as how Anthony Joshua is susceptible to left hooks. Anthony Joshua is very, very susceptible to left hooks.
Yeah, it was a left hook that Dylan caught him with. That wobbled him.
That left hook wobbling vicious, man. When he got
he took it and come back.
When he got caught with that left hook, he was listening to Fela Kuti and everybody in there was singing all at once.
But he took it and come back, Spence.
No, he did, but that left hook was serious though. I'm just being real. That left hook was serious. You know what I mean? So that's the next one. When people question like Anthony Joshua's heart, how can you question his heart? I've seen him get clapped a couple of times.
I told you. I mean, we've been said that. You know that conversation and that we spoke about this over and over again. Raphael Hudson says the white robe. Guys, Spence. I'll read out the question. It says the white robe worn in the Sonny Liston fight is going on auction and is expected to fetch around $500,000. Any bids?
I don't know about any bids right now, but I know Ben Oldham could throw a bid in there. He most probably could buy that. But that's it. I'll be looking forward to that. So it's the white robe that Ali wore the first fight against Liston, which was February 25th, 1964. If that is up for auction, that's gonna go for a lot of money. That much I can tell you. It's gonna go for a lot of money. Hotbid says, let me put on these glasses because I'm doing it from my phone. Hotbid says, is Ali the first boxer to run backwards? No, but I think he's the first properly recorded boxer to run backwards. But I've seen film footage of Sugar Ray Robinson running backwards, and nobody can't tell me that the great Willie Peck, the former world featherweight champion, never used to run backwards because he did, because I read his book.
Man said Ben Oldham is Anthony Yard undercover. Oh, listen, ladies and gentlemen, Spencer's rubbing his eyes.
No, I've rubbed my eyes for this. You know what, Tom? You know what, before we go, I think we should open up the live to people to come on and speak their talk, you know.
What, right now?
Right now. Send that.
Yeah, can we do that? I don't know if that's possible.
Because they can click Gary, and we could do that. We could make people come onto the live.
Well, if that's possible, Gary, let's get a few people on live.
Yeah, I mean, Gary could put the live. Gary could put the live link inside the comments right now, and people will just kick in the thing. We tell everyone keep it decent and clean, because if you don't, we'll just cut you off.
Is that a goal, Gary?
Gary's thinking he wants to go to bed, bro.
Yeah, Gary said that's not really how it works, Spence.
Of course you can do
that. No, you can't. It don't work like that. But maybe, I don't know. He said,
I guarantee it can work. It can work. If you put the link to the show in the comment section.
Yes.
Like people can.
That's a good question. Who wants to come on live and maybe say something about Ali? Maybe give a thought.
Throw any questions to me and the Master Genius Ton.
Ask either of us a question.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anyone wants to come on live? Just message the comments box and let's go. Miss Ringside VIP says 100% she wants to come on live. Raheem, good evening, Unks. Love the boxing education. Looking forward to Danny Jacobs at the Ali Pali next month. A great venue where Spencer's last fight was at the Ali Pali. My first ever award in boxing was at the Ali Pali. So we got some history there, Spence.
Yeah. You know what? I'll go to that fight, you know. I like John Ryder. He's got the gorilla. I know Danny Jacobs. I know Danny Jacobs from me was like 17, 18 years old when I was out in New York quite regularly.
I remember Reese. Remember Reese Shigeri? He was over there with them man there. I remember he was talking about this Danny Jacobs as a young man.
You used to have cornrows. You used to have plaits like that.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so I think anyone on live has to send, that wants to be in the live, send Gary your email address and he'll send you the link.
Gary, no, you don't see that. All Gary's got to do is put the link to the thing inside the comment section and people click on it and Gary can choose who wants to put on it.
Okay, Gary, I'll leave that to you.
You know what I mean? Tunde's doing some 419 business right now. Any more questions you got thrown up here, Gary? Yep, there you see the StreamYards being put up now by Gary. Anyone can click in, and we'll bring you on the show. So I'm waiting for Gary to just deal with what else he's gonna deal with. Because Gary is the man with the cam, but he's also the man with the computer skills. Because I ain't got a clue. I can just talk this stuff, but I ain't got a clue. Next time, perhaps English isn't my language. Yo, Fifi, regardless that English isn't your language, but big up for all of the support that you do for the show. That's from me and Tunde and Gary for the Fight Is Right. You know what I mean? Because you're always back in the team, always jumping on our lives, and that means a lot. You're always commenting. And all you subscribe, you're always ticking the like button. So those things mean a hell of a lot to me, you know, because it's just two man. Just me and Tunde will talk like this on the phone anyway. So we might as well say, like, we'll just go give that to you guys so you can hear what we've got to say about the sport. It's a sport that I emphatically love. Any more questions? I don't know where Tunde's run off to hide to. You know, the next thing is this. We used to get Fury would beat Ali, major music. I think you're getting taken away by Fury beating Deontay Wilder, you know. That's what I think you're being taken away with. I think Fury would have given him trouble because of his size, but I can't see Fury beating Muhammad Ali. I'm gonna be real, of the past champions who have boxed, who I could see, like, I reckon would have given Ali trouble. I reckon really bold would have given him trouble, you know. I'm gonna be real with you. I reckon he would have given him trouble. I'm trying to think of the other guys who I think would have given him trouble. And Van der Holyfield, maybe. Yes, champ. What are you saying? Now I'm doing a live right now, but I'm saying the great Muhammad Ali's birthday today. I see that you posted it today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is Lennox Lewis I'm talking to. What was your feelings on? I know you used to love Ali. What was your feelings on Ali, Lennox?
Great man. You know, I kind of used him as a hero and a model even for my boxing because, you know, I would always think, you know, if they put me in a movie or in a skit, would Muhammad Ali do it?
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Yeah,
I remember what you said. I remember you said that. Sorry to cut you. I remember you said that on Des O'Connor in 1991, the Des O'Connor Tonight Show, and they asked you, would you ever do pantomime? And you said Lennox Lewis would never wear a skirt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then also in my boxing career, I would think, well, what would Muhammad Ali do?
Okay.
And then, you know, it's like, if I'm getting hit, like, yo, I'm not practicing float like a ball-sized thing like a bee. You know, don't get hit. You know, movement. You know, if you know, I look at my fights and say, what would Muhammad Ali do? He'd be moving, making sure he's balanced. He'd be jabbing.
Like you see your fight with Razor Ruddock, October 31st, 1992. Halloween night. I'll never forget that because I remember going to that fight and sneaking my way down to ringside. And I sat beside your mum for that fight, you know, right? And like, I remember that fight. And I would say to anybody, go and watch Lennox Lewis versus Razor Ruddock because you was hitting and moving, very reminiscent to Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you used to kind of cut your hair like Muhammad Ali as well, a little bit. Yes, you did, Lennox. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, that fight there, it was the way you boxed in that fight. I know you was watching Ali because the way that you was popping. Someone's got a question for you. It said, Spence, please ask Lennox, is Ray Mercer his toughest ever he's fought? Is Ray Mercer the toughest you ever fought?
No, it wasn't. It was every fight is tough because every fight you prepare for differently. So for Ray Mercer, I was prepared for that. You know what I mean? Them putting me in a small ring and, you know, trying to take advantage of, you know, his inside fighting, but they were testing my heart, but I proved that I had a big heart, so.
Bro, let me tell you this. When man will turn around and say, oh, Lennox Lewis can't take a shot, Lennox Lewis didn't have no heart, that fight shut all the critics up. Because when I watch, like, fights of yours, like, the negative from, like, Larry Merchant, the negative that them man there, it's like they had some different, you know why? Because you weren't American.
Right.
The hatred that they had for you, you know, was some different level. Different level. So what was your toughest fight then, Lennox? If that wasn't, which one? If I could answer Ben Oldham, which was your toughest fight?
You know, tough fights, I don't look at them as tough fights, I look at them as learning experiences.
Okay.
Such as, if I had difficulty with you, it's like, okay, I'll go back and say, well, what was the difficulty? And try and correct that. So I wouldn't say they're tough fights. I just, you know, no fight's going to be easy. Everybody's going to have their own remedy that we have to put in to solve how they box. Okay. And some fights I would learn as we get into the fights, or some fights I would learn before the fights, and these tactics would work. Right.
And next thing, since it's Muhammad Ali's birthday, a lot of people do not know, right, that when the Muhammad Ali sports centers were opened, right, but I know, Lennox Lewis donated $250,000 towards the Muhammad Ali Foundation, right? And I remember Colin Hart asked you, no, sorry, not Colin Hart, Jeff Powell, who used to write for The Independent, said, Lennox, why did you do that? And Lennox Lewis said, well, it's Muhammad Ali, innit? Done.
Yeah, it's Muhammad Ali. I mean, I'm glad I'm still the one that gave the most money towards his foundation. But I think that his foundation is a great foundation. Muhammad Ali is the greatest, and he would always, forever be the greatest.
Yep. Fifi says, Spence, can you give Lennox Lewis greetings from the Netherlands? And also, how much more can you improve when you change trainers like AJ is doing? Thanks, Spence. All right.
Well, that's an easy question because the new trainer is going to obviously come with his own philosophy and what AJ needs. So he will help him because he will be teaching him something AJ's never known before, and it's a different philosophy. So I'm not saying if it's a good philosophy or a bad philosophy. I imagine that it's an improvement, because he probably sees some places where AJ needs to improve, so he will be give some good antidotes to what he's got up against him.
Okay, this is what I like to know is, like, if those guys were fighting in your day, Len, right? Like, I say, like, your top 3 all-time heavyweights, Tunde Ajayi trainer Anthony Yard said that you are the best heavyweight of all time, right?
Thank you, Tunde.
No, that's what Tunde believes. He said, listen, I remember, like, after Yard came second best against Lyndon Arthur, he was coming and said, I want some certain fights to go study. I gave him 5 fights of yours to study. I gave him 5 fights of Larry Holmes to study. I gave him some Michael Spinks to study. I gave him some Mike Tyson. I gave him some Sugar Ray. I gave him quite a few fights. He was on it. And he come back and said, you know what? Lennox Lewis is the greatest heavyweight of all time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, listen, great. You know, I look at myself as one of the greats, because I don't think there can ever be one great guy in history, because there's different eras. Different guys came at different eras. It would be great if all 10 guys came the same era, and then we can say, yeah, but we came at different eras. We had different things that affected us, different things that motivated us, and different things that we fought for. So, but we all wanted to be champions, and we all realized that, you know, it takes a lot of work to be champion, and we sacrificed, and we made it. So I'm in a room full of men that made it.
Okay. There's certain fights in your career, Lennox, that didn't happen for you, yeah? And you, like Ali, was a man that was world heavyweight champion 3 times. A lot of people seem to forget that, right?
Actually, 2 times.
No.
That's 3?
Of course it's 3.
Right?
Okay. Right?
I thought it was 2.
No, because maybe you want to take away the time. No, maybe you want to take away the time that when you was awarded the WBC crown after you beat Razor Ruddock in '92, right? The 31st of October. Maybe you want to sugar and say no, but then you lost the title, regained the title, lost the title again against Hassan Ratman, and then that hellacious knockout is one of the most brutalist knockouts in heavyweight boxing history, where you clapped him out and he landed on top of the Don King crown inside the ring. So that makes you free to, by my accounts, I don't know, my maths ain't that good, but my accounts, that's 3 times, right?
Listen, if I didn't lose, I would not know how great I am.
1,000,000%. Right. Ren71, thank you for the £5 donation, says Lennox has never been given the credit he deserves. Great champion.
Yes, big up. Yes, enough people said that. Enough people are saying that. But you know what I mean? My reward comes with age. I'm like fine wine. I get better in time.
And we're seeing that now. If you was around today, how do you believe that you would have gotten against the likes of Anthony Joshua, against a Fury, against a Dylan White, against a Deontay Wilder? How do you believe you'd have gotten against those guys?
Well, you know, I look at that as, you know, this era of fighters, and you know, as fighters, as champions, where we learn to say to ourselves, like, nobody can't beat us. Nobody can't defeat us. As a champion, we're built that way. And I find it doesn't really matter what era we come from. So I don't really want to say anything. I think it's really up to the people, because the people watch us the most. I will say, yeah, I can beat everybody.
Yeah.
And another heavyweight say, no, I can beat everybody. But that's what they're supposed to say. I don't hold it against them. So you know what I'm gonna say. You know, I'm the pugilist specialist.
1,000,000%. And no guy tests.
No guy.
Ben Oldham, thank you for your £50. Ben Oldham says, Lord Lennox, did you cut corners with training camp for Vitali? You seemed exhausted.
Well, let me tell you, I wasn't supposed to fight Vitali. I was supposed to fight a guy from Canada, Kurt Johnson.
Kurt Johnson, you're the most. Yeah. You didn't have to train for Kurt Johnson. I know that for a fact. But
right, and he caught me at the beginning of the year. I was supposed to fight Klitschko at the end of the year, but they paid Kurt Johnson not to fight.
So they tried to set you up. That was HBO. That was HBO, right?
HBO saying that, oh, we only got 1 day, you should take it. Talking to Manny, telling Manny, oh, he should take it. You know, things like that. I wasn't fully ready after my training, but it was a chance to, you know, affect the next era. So I did. I said, if I beat everybody in my era and the best guy in the next era, that's 2 eras in 1.
Right. So you see, with the retirement, a lot of people, and even Emmanuel Stewart, because Emmanuel Stewart kind of turned on you as well, because Emmanuel Stewart was saying, nah, you should come back and fight Vitali. That's when he's working with him, right?
Yeah.
So he's looking to pay off for another house, right?
Yeah.
Why do
he knows it would have been problems for Vitali.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows.
So this is something. Did you learn this from like Ali? Because like, did you learn from the mistakes of Ali? Like, you watch right throughout history. We're looking at fighters. Joe Louis went on too long. You know what I mean? Ali went on too long. Did you learn from when you sit down and watching these old great champions going on too long? You think, well, I just not gonna go on too long. I know, like, this is it for me now. You know what I mean? Because
you. It was easy for me because I used to tell everybody that Muhammad Ali is my hero, and they say, yeah, he's a great boxer, but then you think he boxed too long. Look at him now. Look at the state of him now, and I'm like, Yeah. He may have boxed a bit too long, but I'm gonna retire when it's the right time. So I wanted to retire at the right time. I wanted to leave with all my faculties and leave a champion.
I think you done all of those kind of things because you left with your faculties, you left as a champion, and also you left remarkably wealthy, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
No, well, I'm telling you, what do you mean? You got a beautiful wife and children. You know what I mean? You know when God blows that shine on you. I'm saying like if I was to look back at your career, right? The fight that made the whole of Great Britain be on a standstill was your fight when you fought. Was that 94? It was 94. When you fought October 94, when you fought Frank Bruno.
Yeah, I was gonna say Razor Ruddock too.
No, that was a big fight. The Razor Ruddock fight was a big. Trust me, that was a big fight because I remember then the Razor Ruddock fight. I was 19 years old. I was working for a financial company then. I remember I bought tickets for me, my partner at the time, and Danny Williams, and we went to the fight. And the £50 tickets were up in the gods. And I told you, I wrangled my way down. I told everyone, I'm your cousin. I wrangled my way down, and I got round to ringside to watch that fight. And to me, that was surreal because there was great guys there. Because on the undercard, you had Espana beating Merdrick Taylor for the WBA welterweight crown. And I got
what a great fight that was.
Wicked fight. But at the time when I was there, I got to meet. Yeah, I mean, I got to meet George Benton, who's an incredible trainer, and I got to meet him. He was a wicked fighter as well. But I got to meet all. I was like, yeah, I got to meet Mike McCullum, took pictures with those guys. That fight was a big fight, but the fight that had Great Britain on standstill, the fight of Britain, that was the Battle of Britain, was your fight against Frank Bruno. How good was Frank Bruno?
Well, you know the funny thing, right? I used to see Frank Bruno on TV boxing, and he would do well, and I'm like, yo, why are they giving Frank Bruno easy opponents for? I gotta knock that guy out. I want to knock that guy out. So I actually thought Frank Bruno was a bit easier than I expected. So when I went in the ring, I went in a little bit cold. He was a bit warm. I was cold, but he started fast. I mean, he started with his jab, and I could hear him going, doom, doom, doom. So he wanted to took me. I'm going to be real with you.
I knew you was in trouble in that fight. From when you came out to your Bob Marley track, Chase Those Crazy Barlegs, right? And Frank Bruno was in the ring skanking. Remember, Frank Bruno started skanking in the ring, like the roots of culture, because I remember you said some geography things about Frank. You called him my Uncle Tom, and that burned him. Yeah. And so Frank Bruno really wanted to give it to you, that.
Yeah.
He wanted to give it to you.
No, he was out to get me. Even the fact that when I caught him, he was giving me some little uppercuts. And to me, that was like a little bit of a disrespect. So I launched out at him like, yo,
big left hook. Yeah, big left hook. And then Mickey Van was the referee.
Right. Then he did his drunken master style. So I was coming after him, and the referee saved him a couple times. That was a good ref at the time. Yeah, he pushed me back because I was out to slaughter. And then, obviously, it was 15 unanswered punches, so the refs did have to stop it.
Boy, that is serious. Like I said, Jason Reynolds was...
Hey, let me tell you, when the Battle of Britain comes with two British heavyweights, it's serious business. That's like, who will be king type of thing.
Yeah.
So, in the future, there might be another Battle of Britain again, and it is, who will be king?
Well, there could be a Battle of Britain. Hopefully, we could see Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte in a Battle of Britain. But I think the real Battle of Britain is not going to be at heavyweight, but be at light heavyweight. And it's going to be Anthony Yarde. When Anthony Yarde hopefully destroys this Smith brother for the WBO World Light Heavyweight title, and it would be Joshua Buatsi, because I know Joshua Buatsi came out to Lennox Lewis Foundation as well. But those two men ending up fighting, and that will be the real battle of Britain.
Okay. Well, is that going to be this year?
Well, we don't know what's going to happen, but you know, I mean, Tunde's not only is Tunde Anthony Yard's manager, but he's his trainer. So hopefully they get the fight against Smith, and when they get Joe Smith, he boxes on the weekend. And if they get that, because everyone's trying to run down the Canelo fight, because it's like people don't want to fight no more. They just want to earn as much money as they can and just retire. They don't want to fight.
Listen, all I want you to do is watch Marvin Hagler Mugabe.
Come on, man.
You want to see a middleweight fight?
Come
Watch
on.
that fight.
Come on, man.
I was watching yesterday. I was like, whoa, man.
Come on, man. That was October of 85, of 84. No, of 86, sorry, of 86, May of 86, my apologies. Big boy fight. Big boy fight.
You know what's so big about it is because Mugabe is coming up and saying, yo, I beat everybody at my wedding down here, I'm coming after you. And didn't know he ready to go big, I'm rough,
Yeah, trust me. But like I was saying, Jason Reynolds is in agreement with Tunde saying, yeah, Lennox Lewis is the best heavyweight of all time. Tunde always says that.
I can say that for myself. Good evening, Lennox Lewis. Good evening, Mr. Lennox. Good evening, Mr. Lennox.
All right, bless him.
Yes, sir. I was telling Spencer a while back, after going through your illustrious career, there is no doubt in my mind that Lennox Lewis is one of, if not the greatest heavyweights of all time. Man, that's what I'm saying.
Thank you.
That's what I'm saying. The athleticism, the power, the confidence, everything was there. It's something I have to push in my fighter because you was a general. And I love the whole composure, the aura. You didn't need to talk bad about a man. You just went in there and broke up a man. And I respect you highly, Lennox. Trust me.
Hey, give Ali thanks, man. Ali thanks, for real.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
The use and my version just signed a heavyweight. I think you know him. Spencer Courtney just signed a heavyweight who signed for boxer Jamie TV. Okay, but I'm encouraging any young aspiring heavyweight to lock yourself in a room and watch Lennox Lewis. Just push on Lennox Lewis tape and learn the art of boxing. That's what I'm telling you. Tunde Ajayi,
not only that you talk about the art of boxing, the way Lennox Lewis could control you with the jab, that jab was serious,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Listen, all I have to say is, there's the guys that have me in the gym right now on tape where they put my fights on to show people this is the way you need to do this.
Yes.
So I'm glad that I'm able to do that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One question I wanted to ask you, Lennox, is how do you feel the training has differed to the time when you was boxing as opposed to today's training? How these youths train opposed to your training methods?
Listen, what I found when I was training, is that getting away from the everyday hustle and bustle, your wife, your friends, and totally focusing on boxing was the best thing for me because I set certain, disciplines of myself. There's a hill that's 3 miles up on a steady incline. At my training camp, that's what I have to do. I have to run that every day to make sure that I'm in great shape. And boxing every day, bringing in the right guys every day, but I couldn't do that at home. So I found a great training camp in the Poconos. Anytime I came off the hill, no guy test. I was in
Come on.
The only fight I wasn't really prepared for was the Klitschko fight because he took me right after I boxed Tyson. And we had a great Christmas and a great, great few months on holiday. And then when I came back, I wasn't supposed to start with him, but I jumped ahead. Somebody jumped the queue, and I started with him. This man was training for me already. So, but at my worst, I still beat him.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Ben
sir.
Odom's
Yes,
got
sir.
another question in.
Yes.
And
Ben
he
Odom
says,
Go on, Spence.
yeah, he said,
You know-
who wins, the Lennox Lewis that fought Razor or the Bull that fought Holyfield?
In what fight?
He's saying, who wins, the Lennox that fought Razor, he meant to mean versus the Bull that fought Holyfield. One. So the Riddick Bowl that fought Evander Holyfield, which, and people need things to forget, that fight was only a week apart, right? The Lennox Lewis that when you beat Razor Ruddock, would you have beaten the Riddick Bowl that beat Holyfield?
All right, I can answer that question by telling you to do some research. Look what happened to Tyrell Biggs when I met him in professionals. This is 3 years after the Olympics. All I was lacking was a little, I was lacking experience. Now that I got the experience, he was in trouble. Pure clock and get.
Hey, come on, wait there. You hear that? Come on. Yes, sir.
So if
yes,
you'd have fought, do you think you'd have knocked out Riddick Bowl if you'd have fought the Riddick Bowl of 1992 that fought Evander Holyfield?
Listen, all I have to do is, this question is an easy question for me, Anybody listens to this question, they'll know the answer.
Come on.
When you see, what's the guy from, he went two fights with Andrew Galata.
Galata. And you knock out Galata vicious in one round.
I took Galata in 30 seconds.
Yeah, that was a big boy victory.
That was an awesome performance. Awesome performance.
Because a lot of people didn't think he was going to win that fight,
The shock on Galata's face when he held the right hand. Serious. Great fight, Lennox. I mean, there's so many great fights that you had. Credit to the sport, and I love the way you carry yourself throughout your career. And as I said, you're a beacon for the heavyweights, how they're supposed to conduct themselves, how they're supposed to train, and you finish your career full faculties, and you look like you can move around today. I see you in a little interview the other day, and Riddick Bowe step up. You look like you was gonna roast him and the thing. I was like,
Riddick Bowe has said some bad things about me throughout history.
Yes.
So I don't, all of a sudden he comes walking over to me, wants to shake hands, and let's say put it behind us. I'm like, listen, you've been in a lot of sucker punch situations, so I'm not taking no chances. Yeah,
I see that. You were sharp. I see you was even looking in the direction of the cameraman. You're looking in the direction of the cameraman like, bro, any man try it.
Be ready.
Yes.
This is one thing I wanted to ask you, Len. There's major talk on, like, Andy Joshua's now not training with what's his name again? Robert McCracken, right? And now that it's Bobby Wright, this guy's a good guy, he's a military guy. Bobby Wright said, it's not a question, I just want to say, Lennox Lewis, you are the king.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Right.
Yes,
Ben Oldham, stop them thing there. Sit down, pan both hours, I run off him up, and the Lennox Lewis. Ciao. Anyway, yeah. So I want to say this. With Andy Joshua, like, changing training and everything else, we know this part, yeah. But what advice would you give to Andy Joshua if he was to take this rematch with Usyk, and how would you fight Usyk if you were in his position?
For me, fighting Usyk would be, it would be a mission. It would be a mission in the sense of where I have to win this mission. I have to make it. So, when you say how I would fight him, I'll go right at him. It's a war.
As Tunde said, roadman thing.
What did I say? What did I say? What did I say? That's how Anthony Joshua has to fight that fight.
1 second.
They tried that with me. They tried that with me a couple times. And the way I dealt with it is I gave them something they didn't know. The first time that happened to me, I think it was, who was that again? Zoltik Magrovich.
Yeah.
I started. He was coming strong. Then I switch up my style on him and start giving some right hand leads.
I'm gonna watch that fight after now.
Watch that fight. Right hand leads, smash him up.
I have to watch that fight after the show.
That's a big boy fight.
Because I saw a comment with Miss.
With the right hand leads.
Yes.
So would you think that is going to be pivotal for Anthony Joshua in fighting a southpaw and Usyk to throw a lot of right hand leads and jump on him?
Well, it's really up to his trainer and what the plan is. I think they should go in with a plan this time. I couldn't understand why they were saying they didn't have no plan. How do you have no plan? You're a heavyweight champion and you're boxing another champion. You gotta have a plan. So I don't know what that was.
Exactly. Miss Ringside VIP, she said, big up Lennox. I first got into boxing at the Mike Tyson v Lennox fight on June 8th, 2002. I went to see this on my birthday at the Sports Cafe in Haymarket. Big up Miss Ringside VIP.
Nice. Big up.
Come on.
So yes, Lennox, it's been an amazing pleasure to have you on the show.
Ask me one more question, please.
All right then. You lot get your questions in. Lennox is on a roll today. Because usually like to bonfire on our show. But catch him today because it's Ali's birthday.
Catch me today, yes.
Yeah, catch him.
Michael Thompson says, just want to say a huge respect to a true great while I have the opportunity. So big up Michael Thompson. He just wants to say respect Lennox.
Big up Michael Thompson. Big up. Thank you very much.
All right, keep your questions for him because Lennox is on a roll. I didn't want to keep him, but he's all right. Keep your questions coming. Talk about the great man. All right, 2 more questions. Gone.
All right. Selena Alajula, she says, would Lennox give AJ some help as he came back from defeat and overcame in revenge? Does he think AJ has too many teachers? Lennox would be great as he could give him a good slap when needed. I don't think Lennox gonna slap him to teach him. That's not how you teach, man. But would you be up for giving AJ some advice? I know you two had a bit of a taff in the past, but I know you're a bigger man for all of that.
Let me tell you, Spencer can tell you this. Every time I talk is advice.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. If you don't want to listen, then you don't want to learn. If you want to listen to other people and not listen to the people that made that role already, I made that tracks already. It was a hard track, but I made it to the top. If you don't want to listen to somebody that's been there, that's up to you.
Yes, and I remember.
That goes to anybody. Somebody's giving you advice. You got to know who's giving you the advice. And if it's coming from the right person, you got to take it.
Yes. Talk the thing, Lennox. And I remember when that thing was going on, I remember Spencer phoned me straight and he said, nah, what AJ, that's disrespect. You can't chat about Lennox like that. Lennox has been there, done it, got the t-shirt. It's best you just humble yourself and listen. But a lot of these youngsters nowadays, they are misadvised. But you know, it's the same adage. You know, learn from the elders, the people who have done it, and
That's how I got to be good, you know, because I listened and watched.
yes,
And I listened to people that were older than me. I listened to people that's been there.
there you go.
And I didn't want to make their mistakes.
Yes, sir.
So
What can you?
Anything I went forward with, boy, it was thought out. So I didn't want to make those mistakes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's a fantastic answer there, Lennox. Listen to people that have been there and done it, you know, and make sure it's coming from the right place. Sometimes all these people that are around you, they're trying to, that's like me. You know, I've got a certain way I do things, and it's so funny how people want to all of a sudden become Emmanuel Stewart and Eddie Futch, and you ain't been there. So what am I listening to you for? You ain't been there. I want to listen.
Hey, you said something so right. That, you know, you gotta even to this degree, right? For me, you know, when I first came in there, you know, I got friends that are lawyers, got friends that are doctors, but do they have the degree? No. Do they have experience? No. I get doctors that have the degree and have the experience. So if anything comes up, they've met it already.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so that's
sir.
why it's
yes,
important to surround yourself with the feet. If you're paying them, make sure they're experts.
1,000,000%. And seeing as we're
Yes.
talking about experts, yeah, you've seen that the WBC has made a purse split for Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte, and they've put it out as 80-20 in favor of Tyson Fury. If you was Dillian Whyte, yeah, would you take that just to say you're fighting for the world heavyweight title? And what do you think would happen if Tyson Fury meets up with Dillian Whyte?
Listen, me.
Let's cut out this bit. Sorry, Lennox. We never got the first part of your Lennox. Can you say that again? Because we never got the first part of what you said. It cut out.
Oh, I was saying that me and Dillian Whyte are different fighters. I was offered the same thing Dillian Whyte was offered to box Holyfield. I said I'll take it. You know why? I'll take it because once I beat Holyfield, I can get everything. And if it costs me to get there, as long as I get there.
There you go. That is the message for Dillian Whyte. Lennox, the great Lennox Lewis, has said he was offered the same thing, and his view was once I beat him, all the belt, everything is mine. So then you have to live by his rules. So I believe that's the best thing as well. Spencer's really echoed what you've just said, Lennox, and great advice.
Yeah, man. I mean, how many times are you going to be able to box for the heavyweight championship of the world?
Facts. Bobby Wright, thank you for your 449. He says, Lennox, if you was fighting today, who would you have as a trainer?
That's a good question, Bobby.
That's a good question.
Easy question.
Go on.
Tyson Fury's trainer.
Sugar Hill. Bro, Sugar Hill's over the hill, bro.
I'll live forever.
Come on, because he's carrying in
you're
the
gonna
spirit.
You're going to be biased because you know Sugar Hill from he's a baby. And yeah, but, you know.
I've got a couple other ones, but I'm going to keep those secret.
Okay.
Good trainers, too. Nobody knows them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then. I think we're going to let the champ go now.
Yes,
because
sir.
it's been a great pleasure on Muhammad Ali's great birthday. Your closing words on Muhammad Ali for the audience on The Fight Is Right, Lennox.
I would say, Muhammad Ali, like I said, he's a guy that a lot of boxers should try and emulate in the sense of what he believed in. Flow like a butterfly, sting like a bee, hit and not be hit. It's better to have a good offense. That's your defense if you have a good offense. And that he was a great man, that he spent his life caring about people. And even through his thing that he went through with Parkinson's, he still gave of himself. So, lots of love and respect goes out to this great icon, this man, Muhammad Ali, the greatest.
Wicked, Lennox. Thank you very much, man. The
Ladies
great
and gentlemen,
3-time world heavyweight champion, the last undisputed heavyweight champion. We don't even know if we're going to see another undisputed for now, We don't. You know what I mean? The great Lennox, the Lion Lewis.
Yeah,
respect.
No guy test.
Respect. No guy test. Come on.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the black book is powerful. The one and only knowledge to this, bruv. I'm telling you, when Spencer draws on that black book, it's bare Obia is working on that thing. Ubakaba. And bruv, we just can't come up with anyone. The Fight Is Right is the best podcast, period.
That's the last undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
And
I don't
if you
want
want
to talk out Noah's mouth.
If you want the real knowledge, you have to tune in to The Fight Is Right. It's just the way it goes. You just have to accept it. And young man Sammy Ali, we're not even calling your name because you're a young boy. You don't disagree with man that's been there, done it. You just come in this thing the other day. You have to learn. I've told you this before. You got to start learning respect. You can't just start saying things, and I'm saying this here as an older person. You can't just be typing nonsense. Bruv, this is Lennox Lewis. This man has walked it. You just start boxing the other day. So have some respect, Learn respect. Most times you have to be humble to learn. As Lennox said, you have to listen. Listen to those that have walked the path. And then you may learn. Spencer?
I mean, I ain't got nothing more to say. We've had a fantastic show. We was looking to cut the show an hour in, and you know what? I said, "Chuck, it's Ali's birthday today, so there was no one more fitting than the last undisputed heavyweight champion of the world to come on the team and bust the show,
bust the thing up."
Yeah, that is it. So that's all I got to say. So as Tunde says in closing,
ladies and gentlemen, after another epic episode, we sign off by saying, dream it, believe it, become it.
Come on down. Thank you to every single person who came on the chat, everybody who ticked like, everybody who subscribed, everybody who jumped onto the super chats, everybody who didn't jump on the super chats but sent a question in all the same. I got to speak to the great Lennox Lewis. I have to speak up my brother from another mom, Baba Tunde Ajayi, and the man with the cam who's got the plan, Gary Blake, who is never late. Peace, 2 fingers, we are out. Press up the buttons. No guy can't test this podcast because we don't need to show you no glitz and glads because you see my black book. My black book can cook. Peace, 2 fingers, we're out.